got me like, we're talking spoilers. I don't care. I don't care. If you haven't seen the episode yet, it's 30 minutes. Go. We're doing spoilers. Let's get into it. Episode 7 of Agatha All Along. Hi, Casanova. We're getting raw. This is God, something about me. So like you when you are a wee lad, you watch movies and you don't realize how significant movies are going to be in your life. And there are a few movies, Clash of the Titans, the 1981. That one is extremely significant to me. But a movie that's not necessarily a good movie, but has a lot of significance to me just because I remember it because I didn't understand it. And then like when I finally had my big girl brains and I could understand it, I was like, wow, this is something it was Memento. That idea of you slowly learning and then going back and then learning more and then going back and then learning more. Like the whole movie is you're getting tiny little snippets of a grander picture and they keep repeating back to the beginning, but then giving you a little bit more. And that's what this episode was. This episode of Agatha All Along was giving you insight, and God, I love that. I love that you have to, those little things that you think are insignificant, her just having these kooky, creepy, query moments where Lilia Cardot is, Lilia, where Lilia is just, I'm so like, Caldero. Lilia Caldero is just expelling herself. Like you think that she's just having like a senile moment. But I love that. And I knew, because I'm a researcher. I know these things. I knew that it was significant, and I'm writing them down in my little journal. I know that they were going to come back, and I knew that they were tarot cards. So I'm sitting there getting like my deep dives. I'm pulling out all my tarot cards, being like, aliens. Like I knew it was something. But to have it be Lilia knowing in her soul that everything she was doing was leading her closer to death. That's such a scary, and I think I talk about this all the time. In fact, if there's ever going to be a compilation of me, it's going to be me talking about immortality and me talking about the needs of emotion in order for me to latch onto something. And this is what I'm talking about. It's not just that she's kooky. It's not just that she knows about tarot and divinations. It's that everything she does matters and has a purpose beyond this moment in time. And I loved that. I absolutely adored that. My mic was down here. I don't know how much of that you guys heard. I'm going to pause the video here. Anyway, back to that. We finally know that Rio is death. I've got my mic on now, so the voice is going to be a little bit different, but it's fine. Here's the thing. This episode was great because not only did we ask questions that we had always been wanting, when are we going to talk about Rio being death? Funko boxes, you can chill now. Everyone in the world knows that Rio is death, Lady Death, the Green Witch. We know that she has that significance now. And can we just pause for like half a second and talk about how queer this episode was? I do think it was a little like nailing it on the head, a little bit too much. Like I like the first little nod of, I like the first little nod of them being like, if you want straight answers, ask a straight woman. I was like, ooh, that's going to be all over TikTok. I see that. That's going to be all over TikTok tomorrow. People are going to be stitching that, using that video. It's going to be, I promise you, I will hear some sort of mixed video or like dance to that. I'm going to give it 2 days, and that's going to be all over TikTok as a new dance trend. Ugh. Beyond that, the queerest, I think is what she was saying, like whoever is the one that we're doing the tarot cards for. And of course, the kid, the teen, Billy, William, is like, I'm the queerest. It's like, okay, we get it. Everyone on the show is queer. Everyone's queer. We got it. Well, let's move on. And of course, the nail on the head of the nail of the nail is Agatha later on being, what? I like bad boys. I love it. I love it. It's too much. It's just a lot. I get it. This show is queer. We notice. Let's move on. I guess I want it and I'm proud. Like as a queer woman, I get it. You're nailing it on the head, and I just want you to focus on the drama that is this show. There's so much more. There's so much more than that surface level queer joke. I want us to move past it. Like, I don't want the queerness to become insignificant. Like the fact that we have queer people on the show, I don't want them to be a joke. I don't want straight people to go around making it seem like, oh, they're just one big old joke. Like it's not serious. No, it is. It's cool to have this representation and that's super serious, but also it's okay to just have queer stories where you don't have to stress the fact that everyone is queer. Queer stories are just stories with queer people. You know, they're just stories. I don't like the overemphasizing of, we're all queer. Look at all of our rainbows. It's just, we're just people. We're just people telling stories. I digress. I'm like winded by this episode, by how awesome. I like this episode. I know there's a lot of people who don't necessarily like Agatha as a whole, but this episode hit me right in the gullet. It hit me right in the feels, and I love that Lilia had this moment where we got to finally see, and we saw her young, and we saw her truly going through it, to know that she saw death coming and didn't shy away from it. Because that was what she was saying when she was down in the caves or in the bellows, looking at the choice to leave, to live. She had an option in front of her and in front of Jen. They could have hopped on that subway, went back to the surface, and continued their lives. Agatha and the teen be damned. And I know Agatha and the teen would have survived without them. They would have figured it out eventually. But I have to say, to see Lilia make the decision, knowing that the decision was going to lead her to death in order to save her comrades, that's beautiful to me. I think that self-sacrifice is going to do so much more for her. And now she gets to become one of the ghosts on the road that will eventually help other witches. And to have her just say, oh, I loved being a witch. Just, I love that. I loved that in the end, she found family. She found herself. And she found purpose. She found a reason not only to live, but to die. This episode was beautiful. It had me. This episode had me. It had me. It had me. And now we're left with 3. And it's interesting because Jen has already completed her trial. And Jen's always wanted, she's got a lot going on back upstairs with all the court cases and the loss of her powers. But I'm interested to see, now that we truly have lost everyone. Everyone has sacrificed themselves. They have died. So I'm wondering if in this next episode, because we've got 8 and 9, are the next episodes. So I am truly wondering if Jen will die on the next episode. If that's really necessary for Agatha and teen to complete the trials. Because as they say, only one can win. So maybe by the end of this trial, we'll say goodbye to Agatha. If it is true that only one person survived when Agatha went through, is this just history repeating itself? Will Agatha have to sacrifice herself in order for Billy William to survive? I wonder indeed how this will shape out towards the end. We have 2 episodes left, my friends. Did you cry? Did this one get you? It got me. I'm not gonna lie, it got me. This was heartbreaking. And I loved them in all of the witches, in the witch from Snow White, Galinda, Elphaba. Oh, just Maleficent. It was so cute. And I am curious, I wonder, had the other 2 women would have survived, what do you guys think their witches would have been? Let me know in the comments below, the 2. Had they have survived, Alice and, I forget, Mrs., the goofy one that shouldn't have been there to begin with, Mrs. Hart. If Mrs. Hart and Alice had survived, what do we think their witches would have been? I digress, guys. This episode was absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of the episode. Like, follow, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you guys for the next one. We've got 2 episodes left, and we are getting them 2? Yeah, 8 and 9. We've got 8 and 9 left, coming out on Halloween, I believe. Oh, my friends, we're coming to the end. I'm so excited. Bring on the Young Avengers. They are almost here. I will talk to you guys soon. Hasta pasta.